Hello everyone, this is Dennis here, and today we're going to study pronunciation. Now we're going to start pronunciation for plural nouns. But first of all, we're going to review the grammatical rules to create plural nouns. So we have the rules here, and the first one says that we should add an S to the end of the word. So we have some examples here. The first one is book. Okay, so if we have two, then we're going to just add an S to the end of the word. So instead of one book, we have two books. Now what about the noun apple? So if we have two or more, then we're going to again add an S, apples. And the same happens for cows. If we have three, four, or more than that, then we're just going to add an S, and now we have three cows. Okay, and then we have the third example. So we have three trees. Okay, as simple as that. We just add an S to the end of the word, and we say trees. Okay, now we're going to go over the second rule, because the second rule says that if we see a noun with any of these endings, it could be S, SH, CH, X, or the letter O. Then we're going to add ES. So it's not just an S, but ES. So we have an example, the word bus. So because it ends with an S, as we can see here, this is like an exception to the general rule. Then we're going to add ES, just as the rule says. So we have, instead of one bus, we have two buses. Okay, then we have another example, which is dash. Okay, so again we have this exception to the general rule, and we're going to say dishes because we add es to the main noun, or to the main word, which is the noun dish. Then we have another example, the word watch. Okay, so if you instead of one watch, then you have two. Then you say, I have two watches. And maybe you see one fox, but then you see another one, so you see two foxes. Then the way to create that is going to be by adding an es, just as the rule says. If you're looking for a word that ends with O, then you can think of the word tomato. Okay, tomato. So because it ends with an O, then you just add es, and the word is going to be pronounced tomatoes. Now we have the last rule for creating plural nouns. Remember, we're only reviewing grammar here. And it says that when we have words that end in a Y letter, right? But before that Y, there is a consonant sound. Okay, so when that happens, for instance, the word fly, I'm going to write it here to jot it down. So if I see a fly, right, that's a beetle. Those ones that uh, are very disgusting. Okay, so if instead of only one fly, then you see three. So you have to create the plural by deleting this y, and then you substitute the y by the I letter and add es. Okay, what if it is lady? This is another example. If the word is lady, okay, so instead of saying, well, instead of maybe um, there is one lady, but then there comes a second or a third lady. So now you have to make the plural, right? So now you don't have a lady, but you have two or three or maybe more ladies. Again, what the rule says is I delete this Y letter and I substitute it by the letter I, and then um, we add es, or we just delete the Y and add ies, the way you want to see it. The same happens for babies. Okay, so the word is baby for one, but if you have two or more, you say babies. And the same happens for other words like city. So I'm going to put it here. So maybe you say, okay, last year I went to four different cities, to four cities. But now, so far, what we have is only the grammar rule. Now we're going to go over the pronunciation. We're going to examine the pronunciation of these words. But the first thing I want you to think is of the ending. So we're going to start here with these three words. So we have cat, right? Okay, the word cat. Now I want you to see the last letter and think about the pronunciation for this word. So we say cat. So that's the final sound. Now I want you to place your fingers to your throat, to put your fingers to your throat, and say only the sound, or pronounce only the sound for that final letter. So it's going to be t, t. If you put your fingers to your throat and you say t, 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 you're not going to feel any vibration in your vocal cords. What that means is that this sound is voiceless. So there is no vibration here in your vocal cords. And if you do it again, t, 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 you feel nothing because there is no vibration. Now let's go over the second example that we have here. Book, book. So again, if you put your fingers to your throat and you say book, and you repeat only the last sound, k, 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 you feel nothing. There is no vibration. It's just the air coming from your lungs out of your mouth. Now let's see the third example. We have snake, snake. Even though this word ends with a vowel, the sound at the end is just k, k. So if we say the word snake, k, you notice that the last sound of that word is k. Now again, you put your fingers to your throat and you repeat only the last sound. K, k, k. So there's nothing here. You feel nothing. There is no vibration. Your vocal cords are not vibrating. Now these sounds, when we do that and there's nothing, there's no vibration here in your throat, let's say, or in your vocal cords, then we call that sound a voiceless sound. Now, what is it that why is it that I'm telling you this? Because depending on the last sound that we have, then we're going to have different sounds for the plural endings. So for this type of sounds that are voiceless, as we can see the word here, voiceless, then we're going to pronounce the ending. In this case, it's going to be an S, right? For all of them. So now we say cats, books, snakes. Now for each one of those, because the previous